Today I'm going to be presenting my second summative for Term 1 with the outcome of generalization on the application of economic concepts, principles, and models to measure economic performance using economic indicators and business cycles. So the answer to the big question, which is related to supply and demand, is visionary leaders adapt in the context of the big question when they know that resources are scarce and shape their business to not rely on those scarce products. For example, by innovating the product to use other non-scarce product resources. The economic concept for supply and demand. Supply and demand is an economic concept where a supply relies on demand because business get demand only when consumers are interested in a product or service. The economic principle for supply and demand, usually when a product and or service gets high demand, business have the tendency to increase the price because if so, they will get more profit. But if they don't increase the price, they will still succeed because that what matters is the quantity of people buying the product and or service. For the economic indicator of supply and demand, if a business increase the price of the product and or service, knowing that the demand is high, economic indicator of employment rate will also increase because businesses will prioritize on product and or service being made fast-paced to meet people's demand faster. The economic indicator of GDP will grow because it shows how much product and or service they can make at a specific time. The business cycle of supply and demand. For expansion related to supply and demand, if a business grows because there's a lot of demand, it means it shows the business cycle of expansion because the high demand leads to increased employment for production. Economic rate of import prices will also increase because it can be an opportunity for the country to gain recognition, hence get the name of as a developed country. For peak, with businesses supplying more on wants, they can eventually reach business cycle of peak because people's wants are unlimited, therefore they can grow and grow until they reach the peak, which is when everything about them is in the best place possible, meaning they get the best profit because they get access to resource and people's demands are increasing. For contraction, one day it reaches a point where the supplied products cannot satisfy the want demand anymore because resources are scarce, hence there will be a business cycle of contraction, which is when demands are high but business cannot meet the demand. When that contraction happens, unemployment can occur because people won't have resource to produce goods. Hence, inflation occur when resources are scarce because once businesses get a hold of those scarce resources, they will increase the price. Inquiry question: what can businesses do to not let inflation happen when resources are scarce? My answer is business can educate people of the scarcity of resource because the reason for products to be in demand is because of people's want to buy the products. That is why educating them will make them realize that what they're buying can actually lead to something harmful. With that, they won't experience feel like it's unfair because they'll know that resources are scarce and demands are high. That will ensure that people won't feel like businesses are doing so to get the most out of their income. Compare and contrast of unemployment rate and inflation with the Phillips curve perspective. For unemployment, when unemployment is low, economy is believed to be doing well. When unemployment is high, that means people are not successful in finding available jobs. For inflation, when business compete for workers, inflation occur because there isn't much people who are able to make the product and or service. And the contrast is consumers will have an affected economic state from both unemployment and inflation, making them prioritize on buying necessities. The graph example is you could see from the right that from the graph inflation rate is high when there's low unemployment because people's demand are unaffected and still increasing, but resources are scarce. One of them is labor, hence employment is low, causing inflation because product and or service will be sold in a higher price. That's due to more work business needs to put in order to for them to provide the same amount of product and or service they did when there's no scarcity. Typically, wages are high when unemployment are low because business needs to compete. That's why when employment is high, CPI increase because consumers will spend more. That's all. Thank you.